Libra. Hi, this is the Feminine Inquisition. Thank you for being here. My name is Tiffany, and we're doing your reading for the month of July. I'm going to give you some dates to note. You can write them down if that interests you. And we're going to use 3 decks. We're using the karma cards to kind of guide our message, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But one of the biggest astrological events that's going to inspire the nature of this reading is Jupiter moving into Leo on June 30th. And that is the great powers of manifestation, because that is the gift that Leo brings to the rest of the zodiac. And so we want to be able to capitalize that for our dreams, for our manifestations, whatever they may be. Okay. So on the 3rd, Mercury goes into Leo. On the 6th, the Sun enters Cancer. On the 11th, Venus enters Virgo, and that we have a card for in the deck. That is the 9 of Pentacles. On the 13th, Mars enters Libra. The 23rd, the Sun enters Leo. And the 29th, Mercury enters Virgo. Okay? Now, this reading is for Libra placements that you identify with and any Librans that you are checking up on. So let's get into it. This is the Karma deck. They are separated into planets, houses, and signs. On the back of the card is a inherent reversal. The top, however it shows up, is the cards that is the message that we will use, right? We're not going to use the bottom. Now, they are separated into conscious and subconscious, depending on what's on top. And then from there, they are separated into spiritual, mental, and physical. Right. So you will see on camera me shuffle between the upside downs. Cool. Just so you know, there is no favoritism. Okay. All right. So calling Libra energy, show me what Libra needs to know to see for the month of July, please. 2 cards. I've got the 6th house and Mars. All right, Mars is going to be, Mars is going into your sign on the 13th. So that could be a very pivotal day for you. We'll get into the message and learn from there. So the 6th house, we have the subconscious. Mars, we have the subconscious. Spiritually, for the 6th house, we have as a full-time job. Spiritually, as a full-time job. What are you holding on to, living from, nourishing yourself with as a full-time job? Mentally, serving. What mentally serves you and others at this time? Physically, do it a little at a time, not to burn yourself out, because it requires attention every single day. Consistency is how we actually become connected to the things that matter most. Now, here I've got Mars, right? So this is the energy by which you're going to become as productive, as fruitful in this 6th house idea, in the 6th house idea that we just talked through. So Mars, spiritually energize, mentally confront, and physically force yourself to. Very interesting, Libra. So if I read them together, as a full-time job, what are you spiritually energizing? Mentally, are you serving yourself well by confronting yourself? Oof. And physically, do it a little at a time and force yourself to do a little bit at a time. Okay, very, very interesting. I've got Pluto at the bottom here. So this is transformational approach to how you put your energy out there. Okay, this is you approaching what it's like to be in service to others. Now, that's really commonplace for you. As we know, the 7th house is where you live. This is the house of the other. But perhaps your career sector, your professional workplace or professional endeavors and communications have not been service oriented. And maybe you want to streamline the service part of you, how you nurture others and your sense of diplomacy and just good natured ways. You want to use that to become an entrepreneur. Maybe there's some new projects you have in mind about the betterment of the greater collectives out there. So let's get into it. We're going to use the Tarot of the Longest Dream because this is a reading about manifestation. That is the whole point of what we're trying to uncover here today. And it might be the whole point of what you're trying to uncover in this month. Because Pluto is about unearthing a great power source that lives within the whole time. I often think about Pluto as like when you take off a mask and then there's a mask under that, you take off the second mask, right? The things that you even hid from yourself. Can I see, please, for Libra, death energy? The Knight of Cups, the Lovers, Five of Wands, that is Leo energy, the Magician, and the Three of Wands with the Chariot at the bottom of the deck. Okay, that's extra special because, you know, we're moving into well, we're there, Cancer season. So this is now, okay? You are moving in this direction. I want to bring your attention to that death is the first card, which is the most important, but also Pluto is the underbelly here. This is Scorpion energy. There is a transformation that is happening about how you confront something, how you face something. And I think it has to do with how you approach service, how you approach serving others, yourself, and what it is that you confront and force yourself to confront. Because this is Knight of Cups. This is a romantic energy, a balanced approach to bring a cup of love to a project, to an idea, to a place, to your life. And here's the Lover's energy. This is alignment again of manifesting what it is that you would like to see, and always with respect to the other. So if you are in a relationship, this is transforming the dream so that you can stay connected in your choices, right? This is not choosing for the individual. This is choosing for the partnership, for the union. Five of Wands, this is Saturn in Leo. And the Five of Wands leads to the Six of Wands, which is Jupiter in Leo, which is the entire premise of this conversation. So this is the prequel. This is the complication. This is the chaos. This is the push. This is the can we work together to embody the energy of great manifestation, great magic of Jupiter in Leo. And as you do that, you say yes, because here's the Three of Wands: passive manifestation, active manifestation. And this is waiting for everything that you've done up until this point to see what you want in the world. Chariot. This is a consolidation of energy. This is the consolidation of you, the dark and light of you, so that you can take flight with the star vision in mind. That's the star that guides him. Three of Cups. The universe meeting you halfway, right? If the Magician has the infinite loop of 8 above him, the three of Cups, I often say, when you take a line and you slice right through the 8, and that's you put your half, you put your energy. Half of what it takes is becoming the authority on your life, and the universe acknowledges this effort by meeting you halfway. And that's how I often see the Three of Cups. Okay, so you could be traveling also for whatever it is that you're kind of moving towards, because I've got the Chariot, Three of Cups, Eight of Wands, then the Fool. Yeah, there could be a very big journey here, big change of your house. Maybe you actually don't even know where the journey takes you. Maybe you just have the first destination in mind, an open-ended ticket somewhere. And that's the change. Maybe, you know, if somehow we think about the sixth house, perhaps you go to volunteer in a different country, for example, or you go to a retreat or a festival that you really want to be at, but you don't really have the wherewithal to pay for a ticket, or you thought about going too late, so the only way to get in was to be part of a group where you're kind of working, but also at the festival. I feel that there's a huge potential for you to work with a lot of people, the Five of Wands here, and to use the energy of working together to remind yourself of what you put to bed and what new life you're calling in. Yeah, other people are definitely present here. And you carefully reminding yourself to keep your heart open as you make choices with other people in mind. This is your new, the new vision that you have. This is the pure way that you're trying to walk. But you know to do a little bit at a time, right? I will bring us back to these messages. So we have spiritually for the sixth house as a full-time job. Spiritually for Mars, what are you energizing? Mentally, you must serve, and with Mars, you must confront. Physically, you must do it a little at a time, and with Mars, you must force yourself. So let's put this deck aside and let's go over here to the Vintage Tarot and let's get into it. So I think that what's really important is to learn what this is. And I'm not going to get specific answers, but I'm going to ask about the transformation of the dream, right? Death, Knight of Cups. You're coming out of darkness with a full cup. And you have a general direction of where that cup is going. There's a person in that window that's followed by the Lovers. So whether it's a particular person that you see as your mate, a particular person that you want as your mate, or a particular concept of the kind of relationship you want to mate with. Can I see Death to the Knight of Cups, please? The High Priestess, intuitively guided, maybe coming out of a time where you weren't speaking. What else? Can I have one more? The High Priestess is guided by the moon. Page of Pentacles. That's a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. If we take, for example, the sixth house about hygiene, this is a little bit at a time to recognize that intuitively you are guided constantly. And perhaps now you are allowing yourself, forcing yourself, energizing and confronting yourself to allow for this intuition to come through. This is a personal hygiene on spirituality, is what I am seeing. Page of Pentacles, you're learning to take these nudges, to stop and transform the piece of you that's, I don't know, maybe made fun of being witchy, maybe made fun of the guidance that would come through, felt overwhelmed to share the guidance that came through with other people, didn't want to seem weird. And now maybe it's your dreams, that's how the messages come through. And you're actively either writing them down or sharing with people how sometimes you have had a premonition and then it came through, or you feel connected to certain people. And you're forcing yourself to develop this as a practice because you realize that there's power in it, a power to manifest, right? If reality is speaking to you before it occurs in real life, that means the conversation can go the other way. You can have a conversation about the reality you want to see and then call it in. And that's what we're seeing here. Yeah, this is the change that you're making. Three of Wands. Same card. Queen of Wands. This is turning you on. This is turning you on for you. And it's also going to get you noticed in a big way. This is a brand new experience. And it's going to bring you to a very powerful place. And when you speak, people will listen. Perhaps there is a practice that you will become, a practice that you will become very proficient in, that you can teach even. And or those might be teachers that you find. All right, let's go. Because that's you, right, Libra? That's you in your embodiment, your head of state. So this changes your identity is my point, okay? So what do we want to see? The Lovers is a choice. Not necessarily a union, but a choice to live in union with the divine, that angel that's above. Yeah, show me the Lovers, please, for Libra. Seven of Wands, Eight of Wands, Two of Wands. This is how you're planning. Devil, Capricorn energy. Seven of Wands, Eight of Wands. This is the leveling up, the download of information. And here it is, the world at your fingertips. Two of Wands precedes the Three of Wands. This is the active planning, to listen carefully to what the angel says so that you can level up. Seven of Wands is after the victory from the Five of Wands. Devil. There's an intensity here about what previous actions you have taken, previous thoughts that you have taken that have come in your way, that have stopped you from the opportunity to close out or to open new chances, to spin this wheel. Right. Okay, Libra. Obviously, this can't just be happening right now, right? This is a long time coming. This could have started in Gemini season. Yeah, I'll leave it there, but it has to do with Saturn. So where Saturn is in your chart, because we've got the devil here and the world here. This is a delayed gratification, some structure, some form, some conditionality, some fears, again, about what it meant for you to be witchy, to know, to feel something, to dream something. Spiritual hygiene. This is Mars energy, confronting the download of spiritual guidance and using it to plan for the future. And doing it anyway, that the fears rise up, that you'll worry that people will think that you're crazy, witches around a fire. What are you manifesting? Show me the Magician, please. Bold endeavors. Leo energy is doing really good things for you, Libra. Show me the Magician. One more shuffle, please. Three of Cups. Eight of Swords. Three of Wands. Yeah. So those are threes. They establish and communicate to me the internal harmony that has been rising within you. And maybe you've also found a way to be kinder with yourself. I think that I want to draw your attention to the fact that the Ten of Cups is here. You are in the right support circles, the right support systems. You are held, loved, and nurtured. And that is not by coincidence. Those are little steps you have taken for as long as you have been making them. Whether you are now actively listening to your intuition and making that a practice, you have been guided up until this point to this point. And so every person that's in your life is not there by mistake. They are part of the universe meeting you halfway. I want to also take your attention to the Eight of Swords, which is not the first time she's showing up, and the High Priestess, because both of these people cannot speak. The Eight of Swords, while she's only covered over the eyes, we see her hands are tied. So there's a censorship that is occurring there. And because it's swords, it's communication, it's the voice. It's also often described as your inability to see the thing clearly, right? There's a way in which you just are stuck, paralyzed by the mind and can't see it, or won't see it, or can't see that you can't see it. There's so many variations of the same blindness. But I'm going to go with the voice. This is the power of your voice. 8 in tarot is about power. The High Priestess is the second most powerful card in the deck, and she's mute. So there is this way in which you have to trust that what you know is the way and make choices from that divine guidance, and not let it take you to a place where you feel you are, I don't know. I don't know what the devil says when they start to make you feel like you're crazy, like you're paranoid, like you're not good enough to have spiritual guides. I don't know what that is, but your ancestors are here coming through to support you. You just keep doing what you're doing, okay? Let's go to the Three of Wands. What are you waiting on now that you showed me the Three of Wands 3 times? For Libra, please. For Libra. Remember, the 13th of July, Mars enters your sign. It might be a very auspicious day for you. Sorry. The Devil, Five of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles. There's the Tower. Okay. So I absolutely love this. We have transformation at the beginning, and that starts by the killing, the separation, the ending, the letting it go. And here we have what is the next stage of rebuilding what it is that you're going to live in going forward, right? It's not just the physical that needs to go away, it's also the spiritual, the mental, these kinds of tropes that give the meta, right? The constructs that make the reality that we live in have the impact on us that it does, right? It's the meaning that we attach to things. And so here you can see the Devil, Five of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. This is a story about the devil tempting you to be on the outside, to not invest in yourself. You can recognize that every time you danced with the devil, every time you listened, every time that you felt the conditionality pull you in a place where you were, I don't know, because often the Five of Pentacles is a church, right? So if there's some really heavy religious ties to your background, that you felt that this witchiness took you into a sacrilege place, that message is here. But you're giving it ground and you're investing in yourself and nurturing yourself and taking care of you in an earthly way, like an earthly witch, keeping 2 feet on the ground, but knowing that the messages are clear when they come through, not denying them. And that is the new home that you will live in. Well, I love that. I love that. That's the moon in Libra, and the moon is the intuition. Okay, let's see. What else is there? You're confronting yourself about what has chained you. What has chained you in a position of I don't know, shame? What makes you feel that you can't, and how you can force yourself to do it? Like, this is really a matter of owning your Mars energy. As you can see, it's here. And the Mars energy is with the Pluto spin about transforming, right? Pluto This is Mars and Pluto. This is Scorpio, Scorpio. So there's a huge transformation here for you. Anything else about July's transformation for Libra, please? Thank you. The Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Swords, Ace of Swords. Right. There's Jupiter. So let's talk about that. The Jupiter in Leo is the whole reason for this reading. Then you're showing me that you will spin this wheel. And you will do it without knowing the whole plan, or without following the plan that was given to you, right? The Knight of Swords is very interesting because we can say it's super fast, so this is taking your time. The Knight of Swords can also be very abrasive because he's a knight with a sword. But also he doesn't get all the information from the king. The king just sends him out to destroy. And so it also can represent when we want to do something right, to make something right in the world. Now it's here in reverse. But the underlying is the Ace of Swords, which is divine clarity, truth, and conviction. It's the greatest conviction, divine timing, divine communion. This is the piercing of the veil, God coming through, be it by something you say or something you know. So I think that if you're in a profession where you have been pontificating ideas that you haven't necessarily questioned, but you have had your reservations about attaching your identity to it, you're questioning whether or not you can still put your efforts in this way. If there is something that you have previously thought you understood very clearly and also had your identity attached to, you now, through the recognition of who you really are, can no longer stand behind that. And so you will spin this wheel in a different direction. That's your clarity. That's your decision. If you've been quiet and you've been thinking a lot of things, witnessing a lot of things, and manifesting a new way, it's here. And that's going to be different for each one of you, but I think you're going to go without a word. And they may not see it coming. There's the Jupiter in Leo. Wow, amazing work. Success is yours, and the moon is here, just like the moon is here. Intuitively, you're being guided. Here's the strength. That's Leo and Jupiter in the same message within the same last 3 cards of your reading. I cannot believe it. This is a very auspicious time. I'm going to tell you again, the 13th of July is when Mars enters your sign, and that is the time. If you don't do it by then, it will be clear by then what it is that is the next step, what you're being guided to, okay? I I really hope that something here has resonated for you. I think it's an extremely powerful month. And one that has to do, like I said, with some conditionality, some fears, some confrontation of the self, some changes, some transformational moments, especially as it refers to identification. And like I said, it spins off in 3 different directions, but that wheel brings change to whatever it is that you're working with, however this story fits your timeline, okay? I just ask that if you watch this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what's going on in your world, okay? Until the next time I read for you, Libra. Ciao.